our mental health is going to be so critical. It's about you tapping into that ancestral energy to keep you stable, to help you get through this thing. And it's a lot of people, because we have been rushing and going, work, children, family, whatever, we haven't slowed down. We haven't taken the time. And that's what we're going to have to get into the practice of now, is being able to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually, more mentally, in my opinion, for 2023. And it starts right now.
We got the cure, we got the answer to what's happening in society. We got the power to solutions and provide the healing that you need. We got the cure, we got the answer with discussions that will set you free. This is the Ark Republic, and you're listening to The Remedy. The Remedy. The Remedy.
Greetings, wherever you are situated in this grand universe. My name is Kaya Nyambi Shivers, and welcome to Ark Republic's The Remedy. The Remedy is a podcast where we focus more on the solutions and the cures to society's ailments and ills, rather hyper-focusing on the problems. Thought it was an excellent way to kind of start up Ark Republic's podcasting again. And none other than we had to have to bless our presence is Dr. Brother Chief Baba Todd Jackson, who is a spirit who we call our resident, lovingly, playfully, but for real, Ark Republic's spiritual advisor. Because when we want to kind of see things, because we understand here at Ark Republic, I don't know what those other folk do, but we understand that spirit is in everything. There's a excellent book by a man by the last name of Juno. And there's a line in there that says, you might not believe in spirit, but spirit believes in you. So, hello, Baba Todd.
Hey, what's going on, Doc? You all right?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you so much for honoring me with this interview at the last minute. I know you have a lot to do. The devil has been very busy, as the church folks say.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's good to always talk with you. It's good to always be on Ark Republic.
Yeah, so there is a lot. So our conversation, we all often, or at the very least, our intentions are to always have conversations around what I would call high spiritual and celestial activity in the universe. And that is during the 4 times of the year: the fall equinox, the winter solstice, the spring equinox, and the summer solstice. So we weren't able to speak because I was taking a very needed break this summer for the summer solstice. But let's talk about fall equinox. What is it?
First, I like to say, and you mentioned those other 3 days, well, those 4 points of the year, to me, are markings of the season that deal with the earth, but also for you. And we look at the word equinox, it talks about being equal night and day. And I know a lot of places down here in the South, we call it fall, which really is similar, which really just runs right in from summer, because it's always hot here. So I guess the best picture of autumn equinox is up north, Philadelphia. You guys kind of get all 4 seasons, but fall equinox is a marking of the season. Even in the Bible, Genesis 1:14, it talks about it, give you signs and symbols for the seasons. And fall is, to me, a time to take a breath, stand still, and prepare yourself for going into the winter. Because when we look at winter, we're talking about hibernation. So now is a time to do a self-inventory of where you come, because see, this year is rolling so fast.
Yeah, it is. I cannot believe it is almost October.
Yes, wow. It's basically almost over. And then the fall, we look at, really, this is the time to symbolically prepare you for the new year. Because if we look at it from a spiritual context, the new year is getting ready to start. Even businesses realize that. Most businesses, large corporations, their fiscal year starts October 1st. So when we look at fall, this is a time to really do a self-inventory of where you've come from the last, what, 7, 8 months, and where you want to go into 2023. So that's kind of like break it down. That's what fall is to me, fall equinox to me.
Right. And so for me, fall, me growing up in Los Angeles, the joke is that LA does not have any seasons. It's just summer. But it does. However, I recall my mother growing up, my mother talking about when we lived in Ohio, how she missed the changing of the seasons. She being from the South too, as well, experienced like the full 4 seasons while she lived up north, right, as they say. And now me living in the Northeast and experiencing what you were talking about, that crisp air, the foliage changing, you feel an energy shift that happens. Could you talk about that energy more, more in depth? Because I think, okay, y'all, Baba Todd and I have a lot of conversations offline. We check in with each other because the work that that we do requires that we have these conversations. But what I've been saying and what we've been talking about is how do we communicate these ideas and concepts to the younger folk or those people who are just coming into the sense of their own and not feel like it's some sort of spookism, and something that can be applicable and tangible. So like, could you talk about, like, there's a lot going on in the world. Since the pandemic, it's been nonstop. Floods, a lot of deaths, a lot of, airplanes falling out the sky, earthquakes, economic upheaval, conflicts. There's a lot going on. And for those who are trying to grasp, and the economic disparities are getting wider, food insecurity. So for those who are trying to understand what is going on, what is this energy that we are feeling and how do we navigate it?
Well, to keep it as simplistic as possible, nature goes through a shift. Whenever nature changes, we have to change. And right now, if we were to look at weather and if everything was normal, the weather's beginning to become colder. We're going into winter well, the day officially starts fall. September 21st, September 22nd, fall starts. And in fall is a time of slowing down to prepare for the winter, to store up things. Let's take a look at the animals. What do the animals do? The squirrels are starting to store things up. All the animals are starting to store things up, which to us is about being still and begin to do self-inventory, evaluate where I want to go, what is my purpose, what do I want to do, where do I want to be? And you can even make it in 90 days, we'll be talking about the winter solstice. So what do you prepare? How do you prepare yourself mentally, spiritually for the next 90 days? Some type of meditation, some type of spiritual discipline, setting your path, your trajectory. Where do you want to go and where do you want to be in simplistic terms?
So we have this conversation a lot, and I always, before and after, say, Baba Todd, I need you to say more. Baba Todd, okay. I need you to say more. I need you to, like, this is how I feel. This is how my sensory spidey senses are picking up. I see the world right now in very dire straits. And to tell somebody to take self-inventory of oneself and, ask these questions, to me it could be perceived as very superficial, especially if people don't know where to start in answering the question, or how to customize the question to where it fits themselves, right? Or themselves, I think. So with that, like, what you said is cool. We can read that in a book, but we need some more funk. But we need some more funk, Baba Todd. We need the funk. I got it. Okay, I'm sorry.
but you know what what old folks always say, you can only control the things that you can control. And I understand, we still are, I believe we are still suffering from remnants of COVID. We're still, people are stressed. People have lost some loved ones. And you might say, well, COVID, that was 2029, 2020. No, but that energy is still upon us. The mental health of our people, our community. A lot of our folks didn't know how to handle it then, still don't know how to handle it now. And so, they're asking the question, what should I do? And I know that you're right, that does sound superficial, do a self-inventory. But for those that have institutions or family members, to be able to be that strong rock for our people, to get them to quiet their mind, quiet their spirit, and give them some confidence that they're going to make it through this thing. Because, there are a lot of people right now that are feeling depressed. There's a spirit of anxiety that is still hovering the community, the country, everybody. There's a spirit of anxiousness. There's a spirit of hopelessness. So how do you deal with that? And one of those is, and I know it might sound like, oh, well, that's too easy, but you got to get people to slow down, take a deep breath, meditate on what it is that you can control, that what you can do, and what you have a handle and control of for your family and yourself. And then where is it that you want to go? What is it that you want to do? Who are you in all of this? So I'm of the belief, Khayr, that those that are in the business of counseling, those that are in the business of leadership, it's time now. If there's ever been a time for those people to step forward. Because if we look symbolically at 2023, and that's where we're going, and it starts now, numerically, they would say that's a number of universal 7. That's a number 7 universally, which means to go into solitude and to go into a place of reflection. So, and also that is a time of spiritual insight, spiritual research, digging spiritually. So the aspect of mental, it's going to be 2 things to me. Our mental health is going to be so critical. Some of us going to fall off, and some of us, because we've dug in, we're going to make it through. See, 2023 to me is about your mental health. It's about you tapping into that ancestral energy to keep you stable, to help you get through this thing. And it's a lot of people, because we have been rushing and going, work, children, family, whatever, we haven't slowed down. We haven't taken the time. And that's what we're going to have to get into the practice of now, is being able to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually, more mentally, in my opinion, for 2023. And it starts right now.
You made some excellent points, Baba Todd. Now you brought that funk. It made me think about, so people are I know people who are literally just kind of getting outside of the house and interacting with people outside of just going to the grocery store, maybe doing only things that they have to do that require an in-person participation. And there are these new rules. I don't know if this happens at your job or a conference. At conferences now you can get different colored wristbands that show your level of comfort in terms of social distancing.
Wow.
Okay. I thought that's very interesting. There's even a conference that I'm considering going to, and masks are still they're mandated. Another thing that is it's part of the grieving process that you were talking about. Now that I'm starting to talk people, I haven't seen people in 3 years. I haven't, 3.5 years. So I'm hearing conversations of this person died. Oh, that person, oh, COVID took them out. Oh, this person, oh, they died with COVID. So a lot of, there is this lingering grieving process that we are still going through, but the order of the day is pushing you to move forward. But you are so right. There are people who are still grieving the loss of their loved ones, and as well grieving the grave economic losses that they've had, houses, jobs. There's multiple reports that are coming out about children, like thousands of children missing out of the school system. Like, where are the babies? So it seems as if there are people you said some really good words. There are people who are being left behind in this adjustment period. Maybe we need to call this the great adjustment period. And then we're dealing with, in the cities, you being in Houston, you understand this shift of crime being gun violence and public safety being an issue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, it's been an uptick in crime almost in every major city. So what is that? Is that a feeling of hopelessness? Is that a feeling of, hey, I got to get it any kind of way I can? It's a number of things. And like you said, people are in we don't know how to adjust to this situation. This has never happened to us before. And like you say, a lot of people have not come out of their houses. Churches are still empty. I know of 3 or 4 churches in this area where they never opened back up. Some businesses have not opened up. So yeah, it is something mental and spiritual at the same time.
And I don't know about you, Baba Todd. Could you let me know Houston was one of those cities that didn't fully close during the pandemic, like in Atlanta, but Newark, where Ark Republic is headquartered, was shuttered significantly. And when I go into the city, it still has this feeling of a ghost town. And it's very ironic because I get all these press releases about, what's going on in Newark, but I just feel like people are attempting to capture their souls back or get their spirit back or something. Okay.
Yeah. Texas is a different animal. This the wild, wild west down here, Folks got guns on the side and stuff, so but there are some signs that something did take place, because there's some businesses that never opened back up. The school district here where I live is, like you say, they're short of children. Their numbers are down. A lot of people didn't send their children back to school. Now, whether they're homeschooling or not, we don't know, but they're not in the school district. And so now the school district is really at a point now, they're trying to figure out what do they need to do to get children back. So it's since 2020, it's almost like it's that calibration. Nature has done a calibration. Now, in this calibration, we're gonna have some casualties of war. It's just the way it goes. But those that can get through this, and this is my prescription. My prescription is families, those that are strong, those are the solid rocks of their families, their communities, their churches, their whatever the case may be. Now it's time for you. Now it's really time for a sense of community to come forward like never before. And there needs to be some type of, if you ain't heard from somebody, give them a holler, give them a call. And there needs to be what I call sales. To integrate people back into this thing. On a Saturday, have a little tea party, or meet at the park, community centers, that type of thing. But whatever your little group is, and then when you get together, have some encouraging talk. See, this is the time now. If we're gonna use your Bible, take those scriptures, which are nothing more than incantations, and create your own affirmations. Create your meditation process, which is a program we'll be doing later this year. If you have somebody in your group that is not confident, then you need to build the confidence up. You need to tell them we're gonna make it through this. And see, that's why I always say history is so important. That's why we need to really study our history, because our ancestors had left us the blueprint. Now, I don't want to say that this hasn't been the time, but this ain't no time to really punk out. Our ancestors been through harder stuff than this. They've been through the stuff that we need to look back and tap into. That's why reconnecting with your ancestral energy, reconnecting to the things of the past, what Big Mama, Big Pawpaw and them did, grounding you. That's why family is so important. If we look in all our African societies, in every community, the elders and the families was always the hierarchy. If there was anything, that was God. Then there was the ancestor. Then there was the community and the elders. And those are the formulas. I know we look for a lot of different things, but in our community, with our people, it's community, it's eldership that we got to tap back into. And we just got to go back to the community. We got to go back to the old school way of handling stuff.
Right, the old school, but with a corrective measure. I think
Yeah.
that's what we need to
Yeah.
say. I got chills on my arm, Baba Todd, when you said that. Now bring it on down. I wanted to add to what you were saying in terms of community. And part of us understanding, like, what makes a healthy nation, what makes a healthy community. 3 things: how the state of the children, the elders, and the women, in my opinion. Right. Yeah. And so when you were talking about the children, I'm a teacher. However, it doesn't matter if you're a teacher or not. One thing in wherever you are in the United States, come August and early September, you are used to seeing, droves of children walking down the street, catching the bus, parents walking their children to the bus stop, waiting, like the laughter in the air, the energy that the children, I don't experience that. With the fervor that it was pre-pandemic. And so that's something to say. And I think that parallel or goes along with these reports, heightened reports of child trafficking, of children going missing. We are not protecting our children. And that's, we are not. And so then let's go to the elderhood that you were talking about. I say this all the time: just because you old don't make you an elder. It is a title that is earned. You are either an elder or a senior citizen, which one you want to be. Okay. I have to say that because some of these older folk be tripping and are part of the problem. But I like how you're like this whole community. And I mean, in the women, and there's a lot of like domestic abuse, a lot of violence against women. So we are really, like you said, this calibration that is happening, and it's going to happen whether you want it to or not, is what you're saying. And I'm glad you were like, it's time to step up. With that, I have a question. I be in these YouTube streets sometimes when I'm bored, okay, or a lot. And I have seen, because these algorithms direct you to these things. I have seen all of these, I'll call them snake oil salespersons and witch doctors, and all of these people who are promoting these non-Western religious ideologies or spiritual systems. Now I am 1,000,000% apart in terms of practicing that and understanding it. But when I listen to it, Baba Todd, excuse my language on this, it is straight bullshit. And I am concerned because there are well-meaning, good-hearted people who are looking for another way to navigate, to go through this life without, they don't want to go to the church, or the church wasn't the answer, or maybe they go to the church, but it's not fulfilling them, or maybe they go to the mosque. And the mosque, they're looking and seeking other information, direction, guidance. And because of the presence of the digital presence and the overwhelming presence, a lot of people heavily rely on this. And what have you heard about, this proliferation of, what do you call this, non-Western, I'll call it faux new age spiritual systems. I don't know what to call, because I don't want to demean it. Like, I don't want to demean it. I mean, I'm not demeaning the fact that we can exist outside of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. But what I'm seeing, I'm highly concerned. And like these young folks, they battling. And I'm like seeing all these, and it's like a sex cult. Like, it's like, this is not. This actually, these is a whole bunch of people doing orgies. Okay,
Yeah.
I digressed. I think maybe perhaps.
Part of the issue is with this new group of people, this younger generation, they're asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking questions in the right people. And I guess sometimes the wrong people are in front of them answering those questions.
Mm-hmm.
I call it YouTube University. You can go on YouTube and think you got a full degree or diploma or whatever in that particular information. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that have stepped up on YouTube that people are hearing from are those, they shiesty. I mean, they not giving information to me that is helping a person understand who they are, helping a person navigate through whatever situation, or giving people a formula to navigate through whatever they may be going through. So, it's a tickling to the ears. And then it's just some people, they out there to just take advantage of people. I mean,
to the ears.
yeah, and see, this is a moment where people need counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Our people need some good therapy. They need good, in E5 Yoruba people, they call it the Ori.
Mm-hmm.
The Ori that sits at the back of the profound head. And it calls for some nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
It calls for some caressing,
mm-hmm.
for people to understand. See, when you don't understand who you are and where you're going, your purpose, then any old thing that comes along sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be right now, Hebrew Israelites, and I know somebody, why are you trying to call? I'm just calling it like I see it. Hebrew Israelites, other forms of Islam, even different type of, you can go to Christianity. Some of these preachers are pastors and around choking folks and stuff,
I just saw that. What is that?
So, and then everybody can get a title. Anybody can be a bishop. I mean, so, it's a matter of how do we wade through all of this stuff? But how do you keep your balance? How do you stay grounded in all of this? And I'll say this, sister, if you think it's a lot now, it's getting ready to intensify. Because remember what I said. Now you're going into year 7, universal year 7. That's what 2023 is. That's what it symbolizes. I know some numerology. Yeah, some people say 7 is the number of completion. Yeah, correct. But it is also a time of withdrawing, focusing inward, is meditative, and is resting. Those are the numbers that symbolize what 2023 is going to be. So while you're in a meditative state, what are you meditating on? Is it your purpose? What are you resting on? Are you resting on bad information? Are you resting on a spirituality that is ego driven? So that's all a part of that. And so, yeah, what's happening now, my sister, unfortunately, I have to tell you, it's finna get worse.
All right. So with that being said, I know we are on limited time. Thank you I know you have to go back to your affairs. I wanted to, on that note, kind of list some things that people who are in search of self can identify, or when they see that, to the left, exit to the, I'm gonna throw some in, because we've had many of talk. I am, I've been around the block a couple of times too as well. So in knowing these things. So what is something, number one, where brother, sister, whomever, leave the situation?
It's and I'm keeping it basic. It's what Big Mama and them told you. Baby, follow your gut.
Woo! That was what I had said. Yes.
Because see, your gut, if we want to look at it scientifically, a couple years back, they found that there was another brain in the stomach.
Mm.
So grandmama and them was always right. They were right all the time.
Mm.
And when we look at the brain and the heart, symbolically, they're one. They're one of the two. So when you're in a situation, ask the question. This will never fail you. Just ask the question, is this person, is this place right for me? Because there's going to be a lot of people looking for new information, looking for new teaching, leaving the church, leaving them out, going after these so-called leaders on YouTube University, YouTube Cathedral, looking for information and say,
YouTube
is
AME.
this right? You know, is this good for me? Asking a question is the most powerful thing you can do.
That's really good. Yeah, I think that's important. A lot of people do not listen to that inner self. That first thought is always the right thought. I tell people all the time, this thing, listen to your gut. That first thought is the thought. Follow it. You follow it, you will not go wrong. It was that first mind that you're talking about, Baba Todd, is how I survived being in Nigeria by myself at the age of 25. So another thing for me, I tell, and I always tell, like, well, I used to just tell women, but now this is applicable for everybody. If the person requires you to do anything sexual for your elevation, that is not for your spiritual elevation. They are a parasite, they are a predator, they are a succubus. Absolutely nothing. If they are your spiritual teacher, engaging in that activity is not, in my opinion, is not part of the process of you achieving what it is you need to achieve. Now, are there things that you can do sexually that harness energy and power? Oh, definitely, for sure. But if you are in this path and you are looking for somebody to guide you, if they're guiding you to their bedroom or your bedroom or the side of the road where they make you pull your panties to the side, you need to run. Okay.
Yeah. Run fast. Run fast. I mean, because now the sexual predators are going to step up too. Anybody or anything does not help you understand who you are, or give you a formula, or sit down in a direction and put you on a path to understanding who you are, to me is, I'm not going to say they're useless. They might be teaching you some other things. You might be learning about good health, cooking, whatever. But whatever you're engaged in, ask the question, is this helping me lead me to the path of understanding my purpose and my destiny and what I'm here to do, and how do I fulfill it? Those are the main questions I give everybody. There's really only 4 questions. If you come to me, it's who am I? Where did I come from? What is my purpose here? And what must I do to fulfill it? That's an age-old question put down by our ancestors, the Twa. And the whole world is now, spiritual systems, religions have been developed from that. So those 4 questions will never fail you. I don't care who or where you are, those 4 questions will be the ones to guide you.
Okay, here we go. Rule number 3, I'm gonna throw it out. If they are not providing you with sources to read, research, and study on your own, but they demand that you only listen to what comes out of their mouths, exit stage left. Why, Baba Todd?
Kick the door down running. Or run out, jump out of a window, something. That is an ego-driven, I call it egomaniac. Somebody that is not really interested in your development, but you develop in them. Because if the true essence of a teacher, a leader, you're about uplifting other people and making them better. And not that I don't want people to worship me, because I'm not your God. But if I'm called to be a teacher, I'm called to build you up and present you with information that can help you and put you on a path that can strengthen you for the next generation.
I'm glad you mentioned that. A lot of people still have this savior, what I would call the savior complex. They're looking for somebody to save them. And you know, the first rule of thumb is that the only person that can save you is you.
Yeah.
And
You know, I think the problem with our people, well, one of the problems I identified is for so long our people have been taught what to believe and what to think, as opposed to how to believe and how to think. And you know, we go into
good
things
point.
like, that's what meditation is for, visualization, to manifest, affirmations, speaking to yourself, the power of your words. You know, I am. What do you declare about yourself? What do you say about yourself? You know, those are basic things, spiritual principles.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because attached to what to think and what to believe is also this guilt and this shame and fear that's connected to it, which is a very controlled, this is manipulative behavior. So when you step outside of it, you know, you feel as if like you're forsaking God and yourself.
And you know, Kaya, it's like this. This is the best. This is the best measuring stick. If I'm truly for Kaya and I love Kaya and I want to see her do good, I'm not gonna put no restraints on you about you moving forward. Now I know as parents with my children, I want to make sure they're going in the right. So I'm cautious about things. You know, I would be cautious if you come to me and say, I'm gonna do this, I want to check it out. I'm gonna be cautious. If I'm about the best interest of you growing spiritually and growing on your own. See, a lot of leadership, we think people are supposed to stay with us and never leave. It's like the baby birds has sometimes got to leave the nest. But I believe in good mentorship. I believe in being under good teachers. But it comes a point, if that individual does not want to see you leave or not prepare you to leave. I prepared my children to leave the house. I prepared them to grow up and be on their own. If I didn't, I would be a piss poor parent. I would be a piss poor father. And that's the same thing with spiritual training, spiritual teachers, spiritual mothers, spiritual fathers. They must prepare you to lead a nest one day.
That is some really sage advice. I mean, you answered the question, because the next thing I was going to talk about in terms of, you know, how do parents communicate with their children. But I want to just say this last, there's multiple rules I tell folk as well, like go to a bookstore, go to a library, you get your books, you read your books, you know, you have, as you said, tea parties and sessions and have conversation with people that you trust. I want people to emphasize that you are sacred. You are as sacred as the next person. And you've got to know that in every cell of your body, because if you don't, in my opinion, the behaviors you do tell the universe how the universe should treat you. So if you behave in a way that does not value who you are, the universe will give you time and time again people and situations that do not value who you are, until you understand that and you know how to say no and navigate out of it. But the last one, and this might be controversial, hey, whatever, but I have never seen this go right. If your quote unquote teacher is broke, busted, and disgusted, whatever they do, I don't want it.
Well, hey, if both of y'all got to go to the store and y'all can't buy a drink together, I mean, yeah, we need to reevaluate.
Yeah, I'm not saying you got to be balling out of control,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know you have these prophet preachers
yeah,
or whatever they're called in there. I mean, they're definitely, this is very, to me, of
yeah.
a very pimp and pastor type of way, to me, in my opinion. But if these people got one tooth in their mouth, about to get evicted, you know, and live a very poor lifestyle, then how can they help you? That's something you really need to, if their breath stinking, if they come to you and they knock you out, I'm telling you, like, this is personal experience. They breath stinking, one tooth in their mouth, their hair is dirty. I've seen it on a cane, and only about 42 years old. Okay.
Well, you know, I call it the spirit of association.
Break it on down.
If the sum total of the 5 people you're with, the energy around them, what they do, their vibrations, their frequency is lack, doubt, fear, anxiety, then you finna be number 6 to carry all of those same traits.
Ooh.
So be careful who you declare as your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful about those in your inner circle. See, we going into 20. These are the things, if we leave here today, this conversation we have with Kaya, I want people to be weary of in year 2023. We said it's a year of solitude, a spiritual year, a year of research. Be careful of the things you say, the people around you, the actions of people around you. Be mindful of that and keep your eyes wide open.
I say on that, and get some nature before it gets too cold to go outside. You always say that. I was like, Baba Todd, you got about nature. Every other time I'm talking about you, like, oh girl, I had to go to the country.
Well, you know, I guess I take it for granted. I'm in Texas. It's gonna be hot in December. So yeah. we gonna have shorts on in December. But yeah, if you can, nature is, to me, nature is the best meditative prescription for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you can just sit out in your yard and let the sun hit you in the face and be barefooted in the ground on the grass. Hey man, and just if you can sit there 5, 10, 15 minutes, ask your question, Lord, what is it? What direction should I take now? And just, this is my basic prayer, Kaya. It brought me out of depression almost 20 some years ago. I prayed and asked God, send the people to me that can help me, that are honest, trustworthy, and lead me to people that can help me, that are honest and trustworthy. And just ask the question. God is obligated. The universe is obligated. Your ancestors are obligated to answer your questions and to answer your prayers. Ashe? Amen.
Ashe.
So
amen. Hallelujah. All right, from your lips to the listeners' ears. This was very powerful, Baba Todd. Thank you so much for ushering in another chapter of the Remedy podcast on Ark Republic.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Ark Republic. If you like what you see and you like what you hear, you can actually keep this mothership going. How? You can make a tax-deductible donation in several ways. One, Cash App us at Ark Republic Media. And you can also go on our website, arkrepublic.com/donate. As well, you can also donate to our fiscal sponsor and our sister organization at Black Farmers Index, that is Cash App, or also go onto their website, blackfarmersindex.com. We are 2 Black women-owned media organizations who share our profits so folk can thrive.